Hi, it's Judy, and today I'm going to be bringing you a book haul. This book haul is mostly going to be thrillers, so I have been trying to add more thrillers to my shelves recently. I do love a good thriller, and it's been a while since I've actually read any thrillers, so I really want to get back into them. One of my goals for 2020 is to read more thrillers, so I'm sure I will do that now I have accumulated some more. So if you'd like to see all the thriller books that I have bought recently, then please keep watching. I have a nice little stack here. I did get a lot of thrillers for Christmas, so I have already included those in my Christmas book haul, but these are just all the other thrillers that I have accumulated in the past month or so. So I'm very excited about all of these, and I will get on with showing you what they are now. The first book is a book that I've heard a lot of good things about, and that is My Lovely Wife by Samantha Downing. So this was in the top 200 books of the year, I believe, and I've heard very positive reviews, so I'm pretty excited for this. On the cover it says, "How well do you really know the one you love the most?" This is a psychological thriller, I believe. It is about a couple who both have some very dark secrets, and apparently there's a large plot twist in this book. So I do not know a lot about this book. I'm going to be going into it not knowing a lot, which is, I think, the intention of the author is to not give away too much, and I really like the idea of this. I think it's going to be a book that is very gripping and hard to put down. Seems like it's going to be a very intense story with a big plot twist, which is what I really enjoy in a thriller. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be reading this book pretty soon. Next we have Then She Was Gone, and this is by Lisa Jewell. This is a book about a girl who goes missing, and the main character is called Laurel, and a few years later she never really got over it. She never really understood what happened, and then when she meets a stranger who has a daughter, she looks identical to this missing girl Ellie, and this brings up a lot of unanswered questions and brings up a whole lot of emotions and just resurfaces everything for the main character. So this sounds like a really cool story, a very intriguing kind of story. So I think the overall premise of this book is finding out what happened to Ellie and figuring out who's got certain secrets and how they have come to play in the role of this girl going missing. Sounds like it would be a very intense, emotional kind of story as well, so I'm really excited to read this. And this author, I believe, is a very good writer, especially when it comes to thrillers, so yeah, I have quite high expectations for this book. So this next book is The Chestnut Man, and this is by Soren Sylvestrup. This is I don't know if it's a Swedish author, I think, I'm not actually sure. I can't pronounce the author's name correctly, but I will link it below. This is another book that was on the top 200 list of the year, and this has had very good reviews and is a very popular book, I believe. This is quite a gruesome story. So this book is about a pair of detectives who are trying to figure out who this psychopath is that has been terrorising the city of Copenhagen, who has incidentally been murdering people, and they find a body of a young woman who has a hand missing. And then above that body is a doll hung by the serial killer as a calling card, and on this doll is some chestnuts and also a fingerprint from a girl who went missing and was murdered a year previous to that. So this sounds like a very good mystery, like murder kind of thriller, and I honestly cannot wait to read this. I have heard that it is a little bit like gruesome, so I am preparing myself for that, but I do think I really enjoy this. I haven't really read anything like this before, and I am very intrigued by the whole serial killer thing, so I feel like this is going to be a really good book to read. The next book I have already talked about in my Christmas book haul. I already received this book in paperback for Christmas, but I also bought myself the hardcover, and I'm just going to keep it because I love hardbacks. It is The Family Upstairs by Lisa Jewell. So she is the same author as the book I've just talked about called And She Was Gone. So I have started reading this, and I am really enjoying it so far. So this book is set in Chelsea, London. It follows two different families, and it kind of goes back and forth in time. So basically the premise of the story is there was a baby found in this big Chelsea mansion in London, completely fine, you know, looked as if she was being looked after and fed and all those kinds of things, yet there was 3 corpses left in the house. and no one seems to know, you know, how this baby survived, who kept the baby alive, and how the corpses came to be and what exactly happened. Then we go back to the present day where the baby is now grown up and has inherited this Chelsea mansion. The story basically follows her unravelling what exactly happened and the effects that it had on her. And there is also another family who lived with the owners of the house at the time, and we also find out some of their story. So this sounds like a really intense kind of book. So this is a book about very dark secrets and 2 different families, and I just really am enjoying it, and the writing style is very good, and I'm just very excited to finish reading this book. Next we have Those People by Louise Candlish. So this book is about a couple who move into this really like idealistic, picturesque kind of like road, and they don't follow the typical rules that all the other neighbours do. So eventually we get disputes between this new couple and the other neighbours about loud music and where they can park and all this kind of stuff. And then one day there is a horrible crime, and this couple are immediately blamed for it by all of the neighbours. Police don't agree that it was this new couple, so I think this is sort of about like not really knowing, you know, who could be living next door to you, and that a crime can end up right on your doorstep as a result of gossip. So I am very excited for this. It sounds like a very intriguing story. This is a signed edition also, and a exclusive edition to Waterstones, so it has the blue sprayed edges, and then inside we have this really cool page here, and then it is signed. So yeah, you can't go wrong with a signed book, so I am really happy with this. Next book I have is Hair Every Fear by Peter Swanson. So I kind of came across this book randomly, and I just thought it sounded quite interesting. Originally I didn't buy it, and then I kind of kicked myself for not buying it, so I ordered it into our shop and bought it. I am hoping that it is good, as I think it's going to be. This follows a protagonist named Katie, so I think she's just come out of a very horrible relationship that was very abusive, and her cousin comes up with this idea to swap apartments. So she moves from London to Boston, and her cousin moves from Boston to London. But then when Kate moves into her cousin's apartment, she discovers that her next door neighbour, Audrey Marshall, has in fact been murdered. And then the police begin to ask questions about her cousin's relationship with this woman, and then loads of questions seem to arise that she has no answers for, and the neighbours have their suspicions. So this puts her in a really frantic and awkward position. She's just escaped this horrible abusive relationship, and now she's moved into an apartment where the lady next door has been murdered, and her cousin is now being brought into suspicion. So due to her vulnerable state of emotion and her being very jet lagged, her imagination starts playing out her every fears, and she begins to realise that she can't even trust herself. As a result, doesn't think she can trust any of these strangers in an entirely new environment. So this sounds very eerie and very mysterious, and I can't wait to read this. I love this sort of story that focuses on the main protagonist, who is dealing with her own issues and emotions, and then we have her also trying to solve a murder. So this is kind of like Into the Water and A Girl on the Train, that kind of story. I love those kind of stories, so I feel like this is going to be a very interesting read. Next we have another very popular thriller that a lot of people have been talking about, and that is The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley. So this was the book of the month. I can't remember if it was October or November in Waterstones. I haven't read it, but it was the thriller book of the month, and the reviews of this have been very positive, so I do intend on reading this. This takes place in Scotland during New Year at this hunting lodge, and a bunch of friends have got together, and then one of them is murdered, but only one of the couples could have possibly done it. It's basically a story of how well do you really know people and who can you really trust, and I feel like it's going to be very intense and a very like one of those books where you're going to be turning every single page for more, and I just can't wait to read this. It's basically a murder amongst friends, and you know, I think a lot of dirty secrets are going to come out, and this is just going to be such a up and down whirlwind of a book, and I'm so here for it. So that is all the thrillers that I have bought recently. I am so excited to read some thrillers this year. I have missed reading them, and I feel like I have a really good selection of thrillers to read. So yeah, hopefully my little book goal of reading more thrillers will now be in effect due to having some really good books to read. I will link all of these books below in the description so you can find out more information about them and buy a copy if you'd like to. If you've read any of these books, then please comment down below on what your thoughts are, and I really hope you enjoyed this video, and yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Bye!